What's good, people? I'm recording off an iPad, my laptop. I shared my coffee with it the other day, so I've sent it off for repair. I've managed to back up everything I've had on there, so thank God for that. I had a question in my inbox today, and that was how to make beats. How do you make beats? I don't want this to be an instructional video, because the instructions you can get all over YouTube, and the way I do it is different. I feel like it's different to how most people would do it, so I won't give you a step-by-step guide on how to make beats. By the way, this question came from Normac225 on YouTube, so check him out. So let's get into it. I haven't been making beats that long, which I think surprises some people. I've been doing it about 5-6 months. But when people say, oh, the quality for how long you've been doing it is good, or blah, 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 I just tell them, in sense of time, like hours and minutes, I've probably done just as much as someone who's been doing it for about 2-3 years. And the reason why was because when I decided I'm going to make beats, I bought everything I needed to buy. And then I spent I was sleeping every other night. There was days where I went for like 3 days, and I just committed and I said I'm going to learn how to make the beats that I want to make. I wasn't happy just making what someone would consider a good beat. I'd need to consider it, like it'd have to set. I feel like I'm very individual as a person, so I was dedicated to making the beats with the vision I had in my mind. So that's a tip that I definitely give someone who's interested in beginning to make beats, is take yourself away from everyone. Don't sleep. Don't distract yourself. Just make beats, make beats, make beats. Because you can watch as many tutorials as you want, and you can take as many tips as you want from people. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to practice, and that includes for your ears, so you know what sounds good. So practice and dedication, as with anything that's worth having in life, is practicing and dedicating. Anything worth being good at, that's what you're going to have to do. What are you going to need to start making beats? Just because you see all these producers with this big fancy equipment that costs thousands and thousands of dollars or pounds or whatever, it doesn't automatically make you a better beat maker. I know people that make beats up with the most simple equipment, and their music just pees all over someone who's just invested 50 grand into their studio, because at the end of the day, it's all down to your ear, I think. So what I use, oh, have I got it wrong? 2 seconds. Right, that's like £30, so what's that? It's like $57, somewhere along there. And that is simple bat. I use this for drums. Only drums I own. Bam, just tap it in. I also have one of these. I'm going to get myself, what are they called? The Akai Max 49, which is kind of like a mix of the both. So you get this, it's much bigger, it's big and red, and it's got faders on it, and it's got buttons that you can tap like on my other thing. And I use headphones. Headphones are a very good investment. Monitors, it's always a good idea to get a decent pair of monitors, but I do everything. I've got a kind of logic where I think, cause the headphones are on top of the range, they're decent. I think they're about £100, but that's not top of the range. You're looking at thousands and thousands for that. But the way I see it is, if I can get a great mix out of headphones like that, I can get a great mix out of everything. So don't think the more money you spend, the better of a producer you'll be, because you'll be sorely disappointed and broke by the end of it. Workstations like your DAW or DAW, which is digital audio workstation. This will be your Logics, your Reasons, your Fruity Loops, your Ableton, whatever you use. You've got to pick one that suits you or one that you're willing to stick to. Most people start on Fruity Loops, and most people will give you the advice of that people start on Fruity Loops, so you should too. Me, I tried to make beats a few years ago, maybe back in like 05, 06. Got Fruity Loops, didn't know how to make it sound different to everyone else's beat that I heard making on there, and kind of just, I was young, I was doing too many things at the time, and I just lost my interest in it pretty quick. I wouldn't recommend, just for it being the easiest one to start on, I wouldn't recommend just jumping onto Fruity Loops. Like, I chose to go with Logic because I'm an Apple user. I was used to GarageBand for recording vocals, so I thought we'll get into Logic, bam. Some say it's one of the more difficult ones, but why wouldn't you go with a difficult one? Why not get that extra challenge? Because it's worth it. I think Logic gives you a lot of freedom. I don't find there's any restrictions on Logic. I don't think there's anyone who can tell you there is. It's literally just, it does everything. Like, Reason will do all this, but won't do that. And Fruity Loops might do all this, but won't do that. But Logic, literally, I find that does it all. So, of course, I'm going to recommend what I use. So, I say Logic is a good choice. Timings, you've got to work out your timings. Most hip hop is in 4x4, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's something you'll have to learn, otherwise you're going to be off. You're going to have to learn how to quantize. Now, this is stuff that you're going to learn through practice. And there's a lot of YouTube tutorials that are going to teach you the specifics. I want to sort of hit you with the logic of it. What kind of beats do you want to make? You need to make sure that you find somewhere where you can get the right sounds for the right music you want to make. I find software and plugins are very, very, very important. Don't just use the stock sounds or plugins that come with your DAW. You need to download as many as you can. There's a lot of free ones, there's ones you can pay for. You know, it's always worth the investment, because you never know when, even if you don't like the sound of the VST at first or whatever else, at some point you're gonna, once you've learned a bit more, this is what I find, I'd be like, oh, I don't know how to use that plugin, so I won't use it. But then when I get bored of the beats I'm making and I've progressed and I know a little bit more about music theory, I'll come back, go on that plugin and be like, oh, I don't know why I never use this, and just find a bunch of sounds and effects. You know, it's really hard. I'm finding that as I go along, it's a hard question to answer, how to make beats, because it's more like, how much do you want to learn how to make beats? Just like everything else, you know me, I'm all about do it, do it, do it. Just do it. Just go online, buy a copy or get a copy, however, I won't endorse however you illegally get it or whatever, because I believe you should pay, but just go out there, do your research, find out what workstation you're going to use, get the right equipment, and just get into it. And that's the best advice I can give you. I don't want to bullshit you. It is nothing to it but to do it and don't stop, and eventually you'll wonder why you thought it was so difficult to do it. But yeah, that's what I've got to say for now. I might expand on it at a later point. Shout out to Normac225 for the question. If anybody else has any questions, either drop them in the comments below or get at me on Twitter at Eskimo Cold. Also, like, comment, subscribe, check out my other videos. I deal with a lot of music industry related questions and answers and just advice and tips and guidelines and whatever else. But yeah, holler me for any reason. I'll check my email underneath. Peace and love.